What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to take a look at some eBay buy it nows and auctions that have ended over the past week. We'll start with sealed, then we'll go to slabs. I don't think there's any singles on the list this week. And you guys will see a common trend. Most of the top cards, the very desirable cards in One Piece, as long as we've been covering these cards, have just continued to move up week over week. We do see like the odd card selling for less sometimes, but the majority of these cards are just trending upwards. The same thing with sealed product. Your Pura BO1, your Romance Dawn, Blue Bottoms, these desirable items, whether they're for investments or collections, are just continuing to go up. And I don't know for the people that want these in their collection and don't have them yet, if they're ever going to be cheaper, especially when we talk about Romance Dawn cards or boxes, even sets up to like OPO5 at this point. I don't know if we're going to get more OPO5, even though it's going to be in rotation next year. Bandai has a lot to do over the next like 12 to 18 months in terms of printing all of their sets. So that's kind of a conversation for another video, but we'll get into this. We'll start with One Piece Emperors in the New World. So this is OPO9. This is a sealed display or case rather of 144 sleeve booster packs. This is the same quantity we get in Pokemon. They come in 144 boxes or cases. Those get sent from distribution to stores. Same deal here. Someone bought this. What I found interesting though is it sold for $1,290 or best offer. I did put it into 130 point and it sold for $1,290, but 144 is half of 288, which is how many booster packs would be in a booster box case. And if you do the math, right, if you double 1290, you get 2580. That comes out to $215 if you're putting it into like booster boxes. So people are actually overpaying for sleeve boosters compared to what they could buy an OPO9 booster box for right now. And even in a sealed case, I think you can still find those of OPO9 way cheaper than 2580. That said, the math doesn't always work like that when we look at sealed investments or products. So maybe these are just a lot scarcer than booster box cases, and for that reason there's a premium on them. I just thought that was interesting that somebody paid that much for sleeve booster packs. Now next up, we have a sealed case of OP11, Fist of Divine Speed in English, 1580. Lots of cases of this still out there, but we are seeing them sell and slowly start to creep up. The booster boxes have gone from like $122 at their low. We're now getting pretty close to $140 again per booster box. This is obviously a little bit lower than that. Now, one thing that is around $140 per booster box, I saw a case of OP12 sell, and this sold for 1,450 euros. That comes out to $1,680 USD. And if you divide 1680 USD by 12, you get 140, I believe. And to me, that just seems a little high for OP12. I really don't think if OP11 is not even selling for 140, that OP12 should be selling for that price. That's just my opinion. I don't think OP12 is going to do as well as OP11. Maybe the Blackbeard cards and the Jewelry Body manga surprise us, but just compared to the Luffy's in 11, I find it weird that people are buying pre-orders for 140 US per box, especially, I mean, this was coming from a store in Italy as well. So normally in Europe, you guys have cheaper prices, and I'm sure if you are in Europe, you can probably find this box cheaper than 140 USD. If you guys can, definitely let me know in the comments down below. Now, next up, we have a couple more sealed products on the list. Romance Dawn booster boxes. We always have to bring these up. This was a very cheap sale, in my opinion. 926 euros for a blue bottom box, and the box is in rather good condition. It seems it comes with an acrylic case. This comes out to 1,073 USD approximately. And just to show you guys the difference in price, because this was a sale coming from Germany, so maybe someone was buying in Europe, maybe it was a foreign buyer. This is a sale of the same box without an acrylic case in North America. This was sold out of New Jersey. It's a blue bottom. It's in decent condition. Almost 1,900 USD. I did put this into 130 point. It looks like an offer. Oh, sorry guys, 130 point wasn't working there for a second, but it does look like an offer of 1,500 USD was sent out on this box. So 1,500 USD is kind of like what we're paying now in North America, which is bizarre. If you go look on TCG Player, I brought this up. The most recent sales of blue bottoms are going for over $1,900. This one went for $2,000 August 1st, and then today, because I'm recording this at night, August 3rd, $1,950 USD for a blue bottom booster box of Romance Dawn. That is insane, especially when in Europe, people are paying literally half that essentially. Now next up, we're going to start looking at some cards, and there are going to be a few interesting sales this week towards the end of the video. Maybe some of you guys will find some of these initial one's interesting as well. But we'll start off Boa Hancock, Black Label, BGS 10. This is from Kingdoms of Intrigue, the special rare. This sold for $1,700, 33 bids through Probstein. I think we saw in the midweek update I did for cheaper cards, this was selling for what, like $300, $400 in a PSA 10. So the BGS Black Label, I mean, huge premium there. Maybe I'm getting my numbers mixed up, but I could have thought this card was like very cheap raw and in a PSA 10. Next up, Zoro Manga BGS 10 non-Black Label, $1,080 USD. Lots of this card sell, whether it's like PSA 10, BGS 10, and they're all normally in this range of like 1,050 to 1,100. So honestly, just pick out whatever listing you want for the week. Once we start to see outliers, like in the next following weeks or whatever, when we're doing this, if it goes to like 1,100, 1,200, if we see it drop back down to 950, I will definitely highlight that. But just know for now, this Zoro is selling in about that 1050 range. And I'm hoping later this year I'll be able to send off my copy that I pulled and hopefully get a PSA 10. We'll see. Now next up we have the Ace, and this actually isn't from Paramount War. This is the reprint from PRB 01. This is a BGS 10 Black Label. $5,000 or best offer. I put this into 130 point. It sold for $3,000. That seems really high for a PRB01 copy, because you can see here the recent PRB01 copy of this in a Black Label sold for $1,825. Before that, it was $2,800, so I guess that's a bit closer, but even still, just by looking at this card, it is continuing to trend upwards, and this isn't even one of the top cards in One Piece. Wait until we get to the Luffy. Well, we saw the Black Label Luffy last week. Wait till we see the Gold Roger this week, which, spoiler, it is on this list. Another card we've seen pop up a few times is this Nami from Romance Dawn. This is the pre-errata version, BGS 10 Black Label. I think last week this card sold for like $4,500. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Go back and watch last week's video, but it was kind of an outlier sale. This week we saw one sell for $3,032 through Probstein. Next up, I don't like to talk about promos that often, but I just think this is an interesting card. We have the Simplified Chinese first anniversary set. This is a Nami PSA 10, sold for $3,960 USD. Next up, we have the EBO2 Luffy. We'll start to talk about some Luffy cards. This was up to around $1,800, $1,900, I think, at its peak. We're now seeing PSA 10 sell for around $1,300. This one specifically sold for $1,325 through Probstein, and that ended July 31st, so just a couple days ago. We have this leader card from Romance Dawn. A lot of you guys were messaging me about this very huge sale here, $2,225 PSA 10. This is the pre-errata version of this leader Luffy. This card sold on July 29th, so when we have a more recent sale, I'll definitely make sure to bring it up just so we can compare and see where this card is headed. Now, we're getting into some of the fun cards here to close out the video. We have the OPO5 Gear 5 Manga Luffy PSA 10. This sold for $4,475 on auction through Probstein. It actually kind of seems like this card is giving up a little bit of ground on the Gold Roger, which is surprising to me. Now, we did have a copy of this card in a PSA 10 also sell Buy It Now through PSA for $4,999. I did throw this into 130 point just to confirm that is what it sold for, and that sold on July 30th, so just a couple days ago. Also, a couple more Luffys here, I believe. BGS 10 non-Black Label on auction, $4,550, pretty much in line with the PSA 10 value, not too much difference between that and the BGS 10. And then, sorry, that was the last Luffy. We'll get into the Gold Roger here to end out this video, just a couple to talk about. We had a PSA 10 copy sell on auction, $6,077. So you can see that's actually quite a difference from what the most recent Luffy PSA 10 is going for on auction. About $1,500, $1,600 is quite a difference at this point, considering both these cards maybe a month ago were around like $4,800, $4,900. I will say there were multiple PSA 10s that sold this week. I think one sold for like $5,800, $5,900. There was another one, I believe, out of Australia that went best offer, and I didn't actually look that one up. So if you guys did check that one, you can let me know in the comments what it sold for. But it does seem like this card is $6,000 in a PSA 10 now. And we're also going to see it in a Black Label show up. $14,000 or best offer. This card sold yesterday, August 2nd. And I put this into 130 point, and you can see it did indeed sell for $14,000. We covered this sale of a Black Label, last week, and it was $10,500 or best offer. It seems like that one sold for $10K. and the one before it sold for 10,100. So this is a very large jump from about 10K up to $14,000. And we also have an auction ongoing through Probstein, $11,300, and there's 2 days and 2 hours left on this. And it's obviously not ending at an ideal time, Tuesday night, but this could potentially even push higher than $14,000. So I don't really know what to make of what's going on. I feel bad for people that want these cards in their collection. They are very expensive, but I might also say this in another video because I've been planning to kind of do one like this. I actually do enjoy that in One Piece, that Bandai has created cards that are massive chases. That's one thing I actually don't like about Pokemon, is that a lot of sets, the top card is like maybe $200, maybe $300. The odd time we'll see like a $500 card. In One Piece, it seems like there's almost always a card over $1,000. And I think just having a huge chase card is great. I really do believe that that is an important thing, especially to people that do view this as gambling and are opening product for that thrill. Having a top card, especially like the Roger, that's what, $3,000 raw, $10,000, $12,000, $14,000 in a BGS 10 Black Label. That's a huge deal. But with that said, you guys let me know in the comments down below, what was your favorite auction of the week? I love that the Roger keeps selling. I like that there's a big card to talk about. I do also think that the Nami simplified Chinese one, just because I hadn't seen this card pop up in a while, almost $4,000 there for that promo card is an interesting sale in my opinion. On the sealed side of things, I love that Romance Dawn booster boxes just continue to move up in price. These really are probably going to break $2,000 by the end of the year, which is wild. It's crazy to believe that a Romance Dawn booster box that was sub $1,000 to start the year on TCG Player is probably going to end it at more than double that. So One Piece, it's on the rise. These boxes, they're getting more expensive. A lot of the top cards, especially in PSA 10 and BGS 10 Black Labels, are going parabolic. If you guys are planning to buy anything on eBay, TCG Player, Hobbiesville, I have affiliate links down below. They're free and easy to use. All you have to do is click it, and then literally whatever you purchase for the next like 24 to 48 hours gets credited. So it's a great, easy way that's free to support the channel. With that said, thank you guys so much for watching the video. I hope you had a great weekend. Stay safe wherever you are in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.